So here I am on my porch. I've rolled myself out here and sitting in the chair. The sun has shifted and I'm just really enjoying this. So Thursday, provided that a predicted nor'easter that is supposed to dump 8 to 14 inches Wednesday night into Thursday. Please just send out vibes that this doesn't impede any of the plans. There's a lot that is riding on Thursday, and one of that is medical transport, picking me up here at my home, transporting me almost an hour and a half away to my neurologist, and then a friend of mine is going to meet me there and be there for moral support while we get some test results back. And then she and I are going to have time to catch up, which is great because she and her partner have been talking about moving far away to help care for an aging parent. So this may be one of the last chances I get to see her. And then she and I, after we catch up a little bit, she's going to bring me to another friend's that lives near my neurologist. They're going to take care of me for a couple of days. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at traffic outside. And then they're going to bring me home Saturday. So that is the game plan. So if the medical transport doesn't transport because of the weather, or if my neurologist's office doesn't open because of the weather, then I've already been waiting like over a month for 2 test results that are really needed because the medication that they put me on doesn't appear to be working. So we really need to kind of figure out what's going on. So the 2 tests that we have are anti-musk antibodies. So I'm seronegative for acetylcholine. So that's not uncommon. A high percentage of people with strictly ocular myasthenia gravis, which occurs just in the eyes, and that is a high percentage, like up to 80% are seronegative for acetylcholine. People with generalized myasthenia gravis, and it does appear that symptoms are generalized. I forget the exact amount, but I don't think quite a 1/4%, but maybe a quarter of the people, somewhere in that, somewhere near or around that, will also test negative for acetylcholine. So anti-musk, a lot of those people that don't test positive for acetylcholine will test positive for the muscle-specific kinase antibodies, or anti-musk. The other thing that that we wanted to get tested for is dysphonia. So more common presentation in myasthenia gravis is dysarthria, which I did experience last year. Unfortunately, I deleted the take. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is I was filming one of these videos, and it sounded like multi-syllable words. The last syllable sounded like soft or trailing off, and so I was kind of tripping over my words a little bit during the take. And when I did the playback, I'm like, wow, that's kind of bad. What's going on? And I just deleted the take. Now I know better. I should have kept the take. So dysarthria is a lot more common in myasthenia gravis. Dysphonia, which is the hoarse voice and the volume dropping out, is not so common. So thymoma, there is sometimes my neurologist, I'm like seeing there's shadows across my face. Maybe it'll make the video more interesting. It's bad lighting, I don't care, I want the sun. So that's like having a goatee or a beard. Sorry, squirrel. So the way my neurologist explained it is that sometimes there is a correlation between some vocal cord challenges or dysfunction with thymoma. Also a mediastinal mass, like something that's growing in my chest wall, could be pressing against things and causing the problem. But generally speaking, it's with use that I get the hoarse voice, and it kind of fluctuates a little bit. So we need to rule those out. When is negative tests not good? Yes, you want to know, right? Because you're like, well, what if both were negative? That would be awesome, right? No, 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 no. Not when you're dealing with, not when you're dealing with disabling symptoms and chronic illness with rare disease. So in this case, we expect either the CT scan to show thymoma or mediastinal mass, or we expect that the anti-musk test would be positive. I think there's only like 2 clinical reported cases of people having both thymoma and musk positive myasthenia gravis, and I don't know that that was concurrent at the same time. It may have been that they had thymoma, they got the thymoma removed, which sometimes puts the myasthenia into full remission, and then at a later time in their life tested positive for myasthenia gravis. But in any case, we're not expecting both to be positive. That would be so high, that would not be good, because that is so rare. I'm not sure if there's a clear treatment path. I mean, it may just be we treat this and we treat it at the same time. But it's so rare. I don't think I would, I don't think I want to be dealing with that. So usually it's just one or the other. But even if both tests are negative, it's still not good. And here's why. At that point, then we have to start looking at things like, well, first of all, treatment. The pyridostigmine bromide, which is normally used to treat acetylcholine positive myasthenia gravis, is not working at all in me. So the question is it too low of a dose? Do we need to increase the dose? Or is it the wrong class of medication? Because if it's musk myasthenia gravis, that's treated with a completely different class of medication. And it would totally explain why the pyridostigmine bromide isn't doing nothing for me. So, but if both tests are negative, then it doesn't explain why the pyridostigmine bromide isn't working, except that we just know that for some people it just doesn't work at all, even though they may have myasthenia gravis. So, so treatment, like where do we go forward for treatment? Having both tests being negative does not lend itself to a clear treatment path. So if it's thymoma, it's surgery. If it's musk, it's prednisone and immunosuppressants. If it's not this and it's not that, then it's like, now what do we do? Now we're looking at, do we throw different class of medications at it and see what sticks? Do we increase the dosage? Do we do that all of it at once, or do we do it one step at a time, which is much longer process to try and get things under control and get better? So that's one way that it's bad. Another way that it's bad is that we're still dealing with symptoms, and while I have enough of the symptoms that the neurologist and ophthalmologist are like, yep, myasthenia gravis, are we looking at a crossover syndrome? So what is very alarming and concerning to me is with especially some of the twitching that I have. Of course, I have been diagnosed with hemifacial spasm. I was actually diagnosed with hemifacial spasm the same day that I was told if the MRI is, if the brain MRI is negative for brain tumor and we, don't see any signs of stroke or cranial nerve impingement, then you are looking at myasthenia gravis and of course positive ice tests and all sorts of other, the variable fatigable ptosis. So, I mean, I have the signs of myasthenia gravis. It's not like I don't. But I don't present in a truly classic way. So there is some are there 2 processes going on, just like with the hemifacial spasm and the, fatigable ptosis and, some of the other stuff going on. It was like the ophthalmologist is like, you got 2 things going on at the same time. So then the concern is, especially based on the muscle twitching, I know that was kind of a long roundabout, is that there's a high enough correlation between crossover with myasthenia gravis and multiple sclerosis. A negative brain scan doesn't rule it out, because there can still be that sort of process that goes on in the spinal column, and we haven't explored that yet. I would not be looking forward to a lumbar puncture, by the way. Also, myasthenia gravis and ALS, there seems to be a correlation, and they don't quite understand it yet. But there's enough reported cases of having both that those are some real concerns. So So not only would a negative test affect treatment going forward, how do we treat this, but also, you know, there's enough stuff that's going on now where it's like we might be looking at something worse, which would be even worse than the worst case scenario of one test or the other being positive. And then the third and final thing is that I was denied disability last year, just a few short weeks before the neurological symptoms became visibly showing on camera. Thank you, camera. I'm like stroking the sides of my camera for being my medical advocate. But I've filed an appeal and I'm kind of in this limbo phase. So if we can clearly say like, okay, yes, you have the thymoma and you have all these symptoms, that's, you know, that's a clear diagnosis. Then I call my lawyer and I say like, now we're going to fight the disability and I want you to push it and I want you to do it now. Or, you know, with the MuSK antibodies, then with the MuSK antibodies being positive with the symptoms, then we can clearly make that diagnosis. But when it's just clinical, based on presenting symptoms, my neurologist and my ophthalmologist can say, yes, myasthenia gravis, and I can have a state doctor turn around and say, nope. And they can continue to deny me. I can't work, and I know we're in a political climate right now where people are, you know, if you are receiving welfare, which I'm not right now, I qualify, but I'm you know, I'm just not at that point where I'm going to push that. I'm going to have to do it soon. Like soon, I'm not going to have any choice. Soon, I'm not going to be able to like pay for groceries or anything else. So I'm basically my bank account, which I had some savings because, you know, eventually I'm going to retire because I'm a lot older than I look. You know, that is now like, I'm like scraping bottom and panicking and, you know, and I still can't function well enough. Even like, you know, I tried doing vlogging on a daily basis. I can't really do that. I do have a personal care aide now, so things have gotten a lot better. Like I'm showered, you know, I was able to shower yesterday and she dried my hair and helped me with, you know, bathing and stuff like, well, I didn't really shower, I kind of bathed because I couldn't manage. But anyhow, you know, I got a person now that can be hands-on, help me with that kind of stuff. And so that's helped, but even still, I haven't been able to, like, even on a part-time, consistently been able to, like, meet benchmarks. And so I'm not really able to work. Even freelancing, you know, I've done a couple of volunteer videos for Patrick Nelson, who's campaigning in New York's 21st Congressional District. And so I would just put together another video for him, and I'll put the link below in the description so you can see that. Regardless of your political affiliation, I think just from an artistic standpoint, I think that's, you know, it would be nice if you supported those kind of values, but if you don't, that's okay. I'm not here to judge you, but for the purpose of putting the link below is so that you get a better idea of the skills that I can bring to video editing. But unfortunately, I can't, you know, I can't meet deadlines, you know, and so it's something where when I approached Patrick initially, I was like, I can't work. I don't have money to support the campaign. At this point, hopefully they're going around collecting signatures, but I don't have the ability to do that because I can't, I'm homebound. So what am I going to do? And so a lot of the time, you know, I was sitting upright in a comfy chair. This is not the comfy chair, by the way. I'm getting some sun. Comfy chairs inside, and I can't bring it out here, else I would. But I'm either sitting upright in a comfy chair or I am flat out in bed, and so it gets really boring, you know. And so I was like, well, if I'm in bed, you know, as long as I can still move my fingers and my arms aren't too tired, I can do some video editing. So with Patrick, it's been pretty loose. He'll provide, you know, access to, you know, photos and film clips that, you know, that were taken and used by his campaign. And then we kind of talk about like a very loose sort of like, you know, I'm like, what's the intent or what's the purpose? And it's been really loose, really kind of loose with, you know, there's no storyboarding or anything like that. And then he kind of just cuts me loose and lets me go. So, you know, I kind of intuit based on the materials that I receive. I just kind of review them, and then I think about them for a while, and then I kind of like put them put them together and put them with some music and kind of do the editing that way. And so that that happens over several weeks. And so if he were to provide me things and say, like, this is exactly what I want and I need it by here and by this, and then I don't think I could. I'm not functioning at that level is what I'm saying. So anyhow, I'm at the end of my so I apologize. This is an unedited video. There's no music going on. There's no like slick editing. There's no title card. There's no ending. You know, so I'm just going to say thanks for sticking with me through this little update. So Thursday, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I'm going to be able to get some test results, spend some time with some friends, and that the weather will not interfere with any of that. I have enough disappointment in my life, and dealing with all of this stuff has just been overwhelming. So I really want to see my friends, and I really need the test results going forward so that I can try and do better and feel better. So please subscribe if you would like updates. I'm not on a regular schedule right now, and unfortunately I seem to be doing these long take, no edits, just throw them up and call it good. But hopefully in the future I will get some more fun videos with some editing. Maybe I'll try and do some filming this weekend if I'm able to. You know, I know my friends don't want to be on social media, but there may be opportunities to do some filming. So anyhow, that's it. Subscribe so you know when my next updates are. You can also hit that little bell symbol once you've subscribed so that you'll get the alerts. And yeah, I appreciate your support. I know that there's some of you have been commenting, so if you have questions or you've got a comment, please feel free. I don't log in every day, but I do read every comment, and I do try to respond when I'm able, and it's appreciative. I don't know if any of this was helpful for anybody, but it was helpful for me, and if it even helps just one person so that they know that you're not alone, or you know, or if it helps you to better understand, like, you know, hey, you know, when is a negative test result not a good thing? Like, if that even helps to shift some of your awareness so that maybe you understand a loved one who's going through this, then great, I've done my job. So thanks, bye.